today we're straying a little bit away from the horror talk. We are doing an interview. Gruesome Herzog, Gino McGehee. We have Andy Salgado on from Mr. White, an independent horror film that has swept many a festival. Andy, thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, Gino and Scott.
No problem.
All right, Andy, let's get right into it. Mr. White, how much acting experience did you have before you made your way into Mr. White? I know it was your first film, but did you have a lot of stage acting prior to your move to film?
I had about 2 years of high school acting, and I actually worked as an extra before Mr. White, and then I did a short film that I was cut out from. And Mr. White was just a completely life-changing experience because that's where I really got into what acting was. That's where I was on set, and I was working with people that really thought the same that I did. But before that, I had only 2 years of high school acting, and I had extra work walking from point A to point B. And then, like I said, I did a short film that, to me, when I got it, was like, yes! I got a supporting role in a short film, 1 day of shooting, and next thing you know, I get cut out of it.
Now, how was the audition process for Mr. White?
The audition process for Mr. White. Well, I auditioned 2 hours away, and the length between the Mr. White audition and the short film was about 3 months. And the short film really brought down my self-esteem because it was something that I thought to myself, well, crap, if I'm getting cut out of a short film and I only had 3 lines, what are the chances of me, being able to get something bigger? And that's where I really had to go deep within and say, well, I have a passion for this. I'm not doing this. I am this. I love this job. Or this career. I love what I do. So I went ahead and I went on Green Room Orlando and saw the Mr. White audition, and it was 2 hours away. I drove all the way to the audition. I was there for 5 minutes. I auditioned. I came back home, and 2 days later, I get an email from Erica, and she tells me that I got a 3-line part. And I can't remember the name of the character because this was a year and a half ago. So I get an email from her, and I have about 3 lines. And to me, I was like, yes, 3 lines. Oh, awesome. And that was awesome for me. So every day for the next 2 weeks, I was reciting the lines over and over. In the shower, when I ate, driving at McDonald's, I'd be like, okay, I gotta get into the character. It's 3 lines. I gotta do it.
You sound like me.
And then so then I went ahead and I went to the table read, and the table read, like I said, filming was about an hour to 30 minutes to 2 hours away, and I went ahead and I went to the table read. And she said to me, well, you only have 3 lines, so you don't really have to come. And I said, well, I want to help out. And so she said, okay, you can come over. And plus it was my first table read. So I went, and while I was there, she said to me, okay, well, we're going to have you as the narrator. So I became the narrator, and I was passing out water bottles and helping clean up and getting to know everyone. And 3 days later, she sends me an email and says, how would you like to be Tyler Rooney, the main character of Mr. White? And so if I was excited to get 3 lines, can you imagine how excited I was to get the main character? I was just, I came out of my room and I was like, yes, I did it! What? Oh my gosh, I went from having 3 lines to remembering a 130-page script. So, it was a life-changing experience in that moment.
What happened to the first guy?
I'm not really sure. It's something that's kind of unspoken of. It's something that, to me, when I found out that I was Tyler Rooney, my focus was on being the character and what I was gonna do. Right. So I'm not really sure.
Now, Tyler in the film, he's kind of like outcast, goth. You really really fit into that role so much. How much of yourself do you see in Tyler, if any at all?
Before I started filming, I didn't see myself at all as Tyler. Tyler is a very unique character, and as you watch the movie, you kind of notice that Tyler is not just one character. There's two. There's Tyler in the first half, and then there's Tyler in the second half. So Tyler, he stutters and he stammers and he's nervous and he walks, swiftly but nervous, and then in the second half, then he's smooth and cool and he has his mohawk and he doesn't stutter anymore. So I had to play two different characters, physically and mentally and emotionally. Prior to filming, I was very different from Tyler, and it was something that I had to study. I did a lot of studying. I took a couple courses on psychology. I studied a lot of books on stammering and stuttering. I learned a lot of things about being socially awkward and things like that. And then I started filming, and towards the end of the movie, I realized that in a way I could associate to Tyler like 100%, because the main purpose of the movie is bullying and what bullying does to someone. And
Sure.
I was bullied in high school. So I found myself, while I was portraying Tyler, while I was Tyler, I found myself thinking back and saying, wow, I went through this situation. This is real. This really happens to people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh yeah.
so towards the end of the film, it was definitely harder to leave Tyler behind. And I think as an actor, all of your characters never really leave you. They kind of just become like a family on their own, because they have made who you are in your craft.
Sure.
So it was harder definitely to leave my character after the movie than before then, because throughout the film you feel bad for him and you kind of miss him. You want to see more of him because he's so unique.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you find the role therapeutic at all, considering that you were the victim of some bullying, and in the Mr. White, you've had that revenge factor, and you were able to be the orchestrator, or at least your character was. Was any of that therapeutic for you?
Yes, definitely as a person and as an actor. Coming from an actor's point of view, I think that any job that you do or any character that you portray is therapeutic, because you get to learn so much about yourself, and you get to associate on a universal level between all the characters, your character, and then who you are as a person. And you have to find a common ground for all of them and think, people really go through these situations. And you have to empathize, and you have to understand how they feel. But myself personally, afterwards, after filming, I thought to myself, many things that I wish I would have done differently in high school.
Sure.
Like stand up for myself more. My self-esteem was very low in high school, so I thought to myself, well, Tyler stands up for himself in a way that I hope nobody stands up for themselves. But I think that the social purpose is for someone to value themselves enough to say, no, I don't deserve how you're treating me. I don't deserve what you're doing, and we may be different, but at the end of the day, we both have the same heart, we both have the same blood, so you don't have to accept me as I am, but you have to respect me as I am.
Do you think, a little bit off topic here, Andy, do you think that the new focus on bullying, we had someone locally here in Massachusetts kill themselves, a young girl, and that kind of went nationwide, and it sprouted this whole anti-bullying thing. Do you think that the bullying situation has gotten better, or is it just brushed under the rug?
I think that the bullying situation has gotten... Throughout the past couple of years, there have been a lot of suicides, from teens that have been bullied because of their weight or bullied in general, or gay boys that were bullied because of their sexual orientation or who they were.
Sure.
And I think that it's something that needs to be addressed, not because bullying is universal. So it's something that needs to be addressed universally. It's something that needs to be looked at and said, why is this happening to this person, and why is it okay if it happens to them but not okay if it happens to me? So I think that, yeah, sometimes it is brushed under the rug. Sometimes it's looked at like, oh, okay, they were off their rocker, or they must have done something bad, or this, that, or this, that. But if somebody comes to you and says, I'm having problems, I'm being bullied, and I don't know what to do, it's something that you need to address and understand. And I think I would hope that it gets better, definitely. I think it has gotten a little better compared to when I was being bullied. But I think we still have a long way to go, and I think that we need people that are going to stand up and say, I was being bullied because of this, I got bullied because of this, so I understand how you feel. I think there needs to be a group gathering where they can all come together and address it so it doesn't happen anymore.
Well, Andy, perception is everything, and I think that a lot of the bullying comes from the fact that, well, obviously the kids that are different, the goth kids, the quiet ones, the artistic ones, I think because it's difficult because the teachers typically relate to the football players, the people that, they can't click with the guy sitting in the corner with the long hair, all in black. So for them to relate to that person is difficult, and when you can't relate to them, it's harder to help them. It's easier to see it from the other side of, just boys being boys kind of thing.
Exactly. No, I completely understand how you feel, and I think that's where it comes to being able to. I think a part of not being able to relate to them is a part of your. I understand you can't relate to them because of their experience, but I think a part of it also has to do with judgment. You wonder, why is this person dressed like that? Why do they act so weird? Why are they socially awkward? Why do they sit by themselves? Instead of just saying, why don't I just approach the person and say hi, and maybe I might just get some kind of positive result. Yes, a connection.
Yep.
Right, because we're not only stopping bullying here, we're stopping potential tragedy, like with Columbine. Because with Columbine, not that I am giving them the thumbs up on what happened, but the fact of the matter is, you have kids that were mercilessly picked on, including they forced these kids to eat dog shit. Did they think that this pressure cooker would never go off?
I know.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. I think that a bully themselves, because I found myself, I was being bullied a lot throughout elementary school and high school, and there was a point where, there was a small point throughout my high school years that I became a bully on the people that I felt were lower than me, just because I was being bullied by people above me. And
Sure.
I think, and so I relate to that in the sense that a bully bullies someone because they are afraid of something. So when a bully is bullying someone, it has nothing to do with the person that they're treating like crap. It has everything to do about them. They're kind of saying, I don't value myself. I think my self-esteem is really low, so I'm going to lower yours in the hope that mine gets higher. And then what happens is that they push the person too far to the point where tragedies happen and suicides happen and things like that. And I think that if the bully were to look at themselves and say, why am I really doing this? But then again, like you said, it has to do with perception, and there are different factors that fit into it, like when you push someone. I'm looking for a particular word, and it's not coming to mind, but
Sure.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Some part of it has to do with peer pressure. Part of it has to do with, some people just don't want to relate or understand, and the other one just has to do with maturity. So,
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
But no, I agree with what you say, where that cooker is going to go off eventually, and the purpose is to stop it before it goes off.
Well, you do know that bullying is out of school as well, and a lot of the bullying outside of school now is mostly jealousy. Or situations to where if this person gets too much publicity because of his or her performance, other people tend to try to keep that person out of events, or because, to me, that's a form of bullying. To when, if there's an event and they'll say, oh, he's busy doing something, you know what I mean? It happens in all jobs. It happens in life, period. It's just another form of bullying. But Andy, what I can say this, that when we did the interview with the cast interview, you and I connected right away. Some people have that click on people. I mean, I have it. Gino has it. I just felt, from watching you in that movie, your performance was so dominating over everybody else. And I'm not being ignorant to nobody. I'm just saying that your performance really stuck out in that film. I've said it numerous times, and I will say this now because people didn't know it. I did give you the Best Actor award for your performance as Rooney and Mr. White, because your performance hits home. I mean, I was bullied in school ages ago, back in the 80s, you know, but just to watch you perform that, and not only it's your first performance in a movie. I mean, it's just an amazing of what you've done. You went to the extent of ordering pizza, calling a pizza place, acting like Tyler Rooney. I mean, you really got into your character, and I think without your performance in Mr. White, and what I'm saying is, if anybody else would try to play Mr. White, I don't know if it could have been pulled off as well as you did it, because your physique, your performance, you nailed it. I mean, to me, you are the heart and soul of Mr. White, not because your face is on the DVD cover. It's because you rocked your performance in that film. And
yeah, no, I truly appreciate your compliment. And yeah, I have been. First, I want to say that is my first Best Actor award, and it feels really awesome. So I appreciate I appreciate your compliment.
It's my first one I ever did, too, for that matter. I never did it before. Like I said, Gino and I were talking. I mean, when Gino had his film festival, and he mentioned about Mr. White is going to be playing in his festival, and I said, hey, Gino, you got to see it. It's fucking phenomenal. I mean, I love the 80s throwback, and Gino, you can quote me on this. I did tell you right off the bat, I said, wait till you check out Andy's performance as Tyler Rooney. That's the first thing I said.
When I saw, the cover art to Mr. White, initially, it was misleading. The one I saw, I think you were just the side shot of you, Andy, and I really didn't know what to expect, but it brought it, and you brought it, Andy. The fact of the matter is, a movie, any other actor in that spot, if they couldn't have pulled it off like you did, it wouldn't have been as good. So you have the monster, which was very neat looking and very, very cool. And then we had the goth kid, and this is why I said earlier that how much of you was in that, because you were just so natural in it, and and like Gruesome, I was a long-haired metalhead, and I was beaten up in school and bullied in school, and so you're able to relate to it. And if you weren't the actor you are, Andy, that would be impossible, because it's hard to suspend disbelief if the actor is stinking up the joint.
Yeah. Wow, I really appreciate your compliment, guys. Yeah, speechless. Yeah, it's something that it's something that I'm proud of, and I'm proud of the whole team. I'm proud of everyone that put so much effort into this, because I believe at some point you can't have good actors without a good team, or you can't have great actors without a great team, a great director, a great producer, a great everything. You need an ensemble, and I really appreciate your compliment to be able to say to me, as a whole, you were really great, and I learned so much in this film from everyone, because, like I said, it was one of my first projects. It was the first project that I ever had lines in, and I wasn't cut out of it. So it's something that, luckily we had a group of people that were all very understanding and patient while we were filming, and overall I'm really grateful for your compliment, guys. Have you guys seen the movie VHS?
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. That VHS 1 and VHS 2, I love it.
You know what? I liked them both. I thought I was kind of disappointed to find out that the guy that did the Blair Witch was responsible for that shitty zombie one in the second one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was, when
I liked it. I liked it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I liked the Alien one. I thought the Alien one was
Oh
fantastic.
my God! I did a review on that, and watching that short film with the aliens, it brought me to tears because the story about my dad passing away. It'll be a year soon in December. I grew up with that old style alien looking stuff, and I just sat back and just tears in my eyes, thinking, "Wow, I love this."
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, definitely cool. And they have like an older school, almost I think 80s was what they were aiming for anyway, but both of them are very cool flicks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're both really good. But anyway, thanks so much for the offer to be on your show Friday night and be part of the team. I would love that.
And we have a relatively, decent following. Thankfully, people seem to dig the show, so we're pretty happy with the turnout, the downloads, the listens, and the occasional email saying you don't suck. So we're doing. I think.
But I must warn you, Andy. I do get carried. I do go crazy sometimes. Just me. Hard Talk is a show that I can be fully myself. You know what I mean? Where John and I usually go at it sometimes because he thinks something's different. but that just, me and Gino don't always agree either. I want people to be like Andy. If I say that I like this film, if you don't like it, I expect you to say I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't talk about horror movies without going a little crazy. So I think that's what makes a good show.
And it is. It's a lot of fun. It's. I think at one point we even talked about E.T. giving one of us a hand job just to show you how fucking random it is. So it's that glowing finger. It'd be beautiful.
Oh yeah, and yes, Nicolas Cage and John and you.
We are eventually having our cage match because me and John, he's a Brit, so I just don't think he understands the culture. At least that's what I'm saying. And so we have our war going over the acting ability of Nicolas Cage, where I believe Nicolas Cage is a American treasure, a great actor, and John thinks Nicolas Cage sucks. So that's our debate. I'm excited to have you in it. We'll get back to the interview here, Andy.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to shoot Mr. White, and was it did you do it on weekends or did you do it like a full week-to-week shooting schedule?
Mr. White was about, not counting the preparation and the still work or the poster work and stuff like that. Mr. White was shot in I can't remember. I think it was a 4-month period, and it was Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes days in between, depending on actors' availability. But I think that it was a 4-month shoot, so it was June, July, August, September, 4 months.
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, that's very common, especially like in the lower budget horror. But for a lower budget horror film, Mr. White certainly had its look and its atmosphere to it. But what kind of I know you were the actor in it, but what kind of obstacles did you encounter while filming it? Because it certainly didn't have, it wasn't bankrolled by a big production studio. So what kind of problems did you encounter during the filming of it, if any?
I think a lot of the problems, well, other than, the personal problems that you encounter on set as far as when you're a new actor, as far as where you go, where you stand, what you do, who you talk to, who you make friends with, things like that. I think that collectively a lot of the problems were the fact that it was shot in the middle of the desert at like 100 and something degrees in Florida and humid. It's like we're walking in a jacuzzi.
Oh,
so geez. There were a lot of times where we were, especially with, Florida, random rain, 1 minute it's really sunny and then 3 minutes later it's thunderstorming and there's rain. So we went through a lot of Mother Nature problems. And then you go through the regular problems that I think any film goes through, which, sometimes you have wardrobe malfunctions and sometimes you have to make sure that continuity issues are are correct. And there were times where some of our clothes would get ruined somehow, and then we'd have to go find a Goodwill or go to Walmart or something and get like a shirt just to keep the continuity going, and I think it's little things like that keep the dedication of the film going, to be that dedicated to fixing anything that comes about, because ultimately the goal is to have a tremendous successful product. Right.
Now a lot of actors, they and this is basically across the board, you need a good dance partner, or it's not going to go. And so when you're working across from an actor, it has to be a lot easier than what you did later in the film, where you're basically like working either across from the monster, or you were just saying things almost to the camera. How difficult was that for you to make the transition from actually talking to the actors in the beginning stages to kind of just being almost on your own?
I think outside of set, it was something where you find comfort in being able to have someone to talk to on set, so you don't feel like a loner. But then you use that to your benefit, especially with a character like Tyler, because Tyler is a loner. You have to, I think, the way I did it was from the beginning of the film, I found myself by myself. I found comfort in just being by myself and kind of doing it on my own, because if I mess up, then I learn from it, but if I mess up, it kind of keeps some integrity to Tyler himself. But luckily, then I would have, Erica Summers or different actors and producers throughout filming that would say, okay, I need you to do this differently. And that's the goal. Ultimately, you want to give the director what they're looking for, and you want to give the script what it's looking for.
Sure.
But at some point, an actor has his voice and how he sees the character, and he has to bring that out while adding what the product is supposed to have, what the script actually has within it. So so a big part of it was being on my own, just because I think it helped me relate to Tyler more. But I did have a collective group of people that were there to help me out anytime I needed.
Well, you said it, that they're like within my films, a lot of times I will have an actor, and they'll start playing the role a little bit differently than I envisioned it, and I'll actually prefer it, and I'll let it run its course. And there's pride and ownership. And how much ownership did you take of Tyler as far as from your creative stance? Do you think your vision and the end product's a little bit different because of your twist, and if so, how much?
I actually don't think that the end product was whatsoever different from the vision that Erica had, and the vision that the producers had, and the vision that I had, because reading the script, the thing is that I wasn't supposed to be Tyler, so I actually had something that benefited me, which was I had a 3-line part, and then I went to the table read. And while I was at the table read, I wasn't Tyler. I had a 3-line part. So at the table read, I didn't have the pressure of not knowing what the script was about. I did not know how they would... in my head, I wasn't thinking to myself, how are they going to perceive me? Because I wasn't Tyler in that moment. It wasn't until a couple days later where now I was already familiarized with what everybody wanted and everybody's vision of Tyler, that then I could come up with my own. And I think that's something that benefited me. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
No, you are.
So so not being Tyler in the beginning, because originally I wasn't chosen as Tyler until I think Erica saw something in me that I appreciate that no other director has seen. At the table read, I didn't have to go through that pressure of trying to please them or please anyone or try to impress anyone. So a couple days later, since I had already gone to the table read, gotten to know everyone, I knew clearly what they wanted. That's when I was like, okay, this is how I see him. And at the end, how I saw him was actually 100% how Erica saw him as well. So there were many times that we practiced before set and after set, the walking and the stuttering and the movements and the jittering and the jaw and the hair and things like that, so we could all get on the same page.
Okay, now the original, you said the script was 130 pages. That's very long for a horror film, very long for a film in general when you break it down to minutes. I get a lot of horror films that are 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I look at these and I think to myself, they're way too married to the project. With My Family Secret, my third film there, the first cut was 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I knew no one's going to sit through 2 hours and 40 minutes of a horror film. From your standpoint, was it difficult to dissect that film? Because I'm assuming it had to be well over the eventual 90 minutes that it landed.
Yeah, don't quote me on the 130 minutes. I mean, the 130 pages. I think it was somewhere between 110 and 140. I know that much. But, okay. Yeah, you know, I think it happens in any film, including short films. You dissect each stage. You dissect each room that you're in, and you dissect this mood and what this is saying and what this is doing. Or that's what I do. Or that's how I learned that my craft works better, is by dissecting different things. But yeah, the movie, I spoke with Erica, you know, during the production process after filming, and yeah, there were some things that were cut out, but ultimately it didn't hurt the film at all. You know, there's, and I think in it, and like I said, I think it happens in any film. I think you always leave room for mistakes, and you also leave room for anything extra. And if that you know, quote unquote extra doesn't fit into your film, then you just cut it out. But as far as me and the way my craft works is that, yeah, I dissect everything. I dissect the pages and the moods in the room, and one thing that really helps me out get to know a character, and this is actually just for other actors listening in, is, and I learned this in high school, is if you have a character and you don't know, or if you have a character and you're trying to get to know them better, try to imagine what a room in their house looks like. Like, try to imagine, what does this person's bedroom look like? Or what does this person's office or kitchen or garage, or what does it look like? You know, so for me, for Tyler, you see his room in the film, but, you know, compared to what's written, visually it's very different. It's very different because visually you get it, you see it with your eyes, you can touch it. You know, when it's scripted, there is a lot left for interpretation. So I sat down with myself and I thought, this is how I see Tyler's room, and I think it's part of the dissecting process. So that's just something that could help other actors.
Now, speaking of other actors, when you're dealing with a micro-budget or low, we'll call it micro-budget film, you don't always get people that will bring their A game. A lot of people, this is in their hearts, this is their passion, and they bring it. But, you know, it's the law of averages that you're going to have one moron in there that comes unprepared. Did you deal with that in Mr. White, where you had an actor that came unprepared, at least consistently?
A lot of my focus, honestly, was more on myself and what I could do to the project to make it better, but I don't honestly know. Everybody was there, and what's so funny is that I remember a sitting down that Erica and I had where she said to me, "This is the first movie that I have ever had where nobody has walked out in the middle, or nobody has not come on set, or, you know, there are a lot of the actors, they would drive from an hour to 2 hours away. So yeah, there were times where I was late myself because of traffic or something, but collectively, we had a cast and a crew that they were all there when they were supposed to. So, and that's always, it's rare, but it's, once you find it, you keep it.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the name of the game, Andy. I know from my experiences, I have a good crew of people, good group of actors and whatnot, but I certainly have dealt with my fair share of people that, you know, always won. No call, no show. Their grandmother died. They were abducted by aliens. Some fucking excuse, just, and it usually doesn't come until the day starts shooting, so it's good when you have a good group of people. That's the best thing in the world, and I'm glad that worked out for you. And okay. What is your plan, Andy, to stay in horror, or do you have some other genre that you see yourself in? What's your end goal?
I just love acting, so any project that comes along, I ask myself 2 questions. Do I like the script, and do I like the director? And if it's a yes to both, then I will go ahead and do it. I don't care if it's a short film, I don't care if it's a feature film, I don't care if it's a TV series, I will go ahead and do it just because I believe in the product and I believe in their service and what they're going to do. I'm not going to put my name in something unless I trust it, I believe it, and I know it's going to have a meaning, a message, and be successful. But yeah, I love any kind of genre. I just like horror films because it's personally on my personal time I'll watch horror films on Netflix and I'll go ahead. But I love any genre, and I love being able to be on set and talk to people and
express yourself
and express yourself and the characters and being able to collectively as a consciousness put so many minds together to bring out a product that took 6 months, a year, 2 years to film. And then when you see it, you're able to say, wow, we all did that together, and the food carts, they always make it better.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one thing. The last 2 films, besides the TV show episode that I did, the last 3 that I did, I knew nothing about these people, okay? But I took the 2-hour drive. The first one was no audition at all. It's because of the voice work that I do got me the part, but then ended up being an 8-hour shoot on camera, which I didn't know about. But I made that 2-hour trip, and I'm telling you something, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I knew my lines, and we actually shaved an hour of production because we got all knocked out an hour earlier, and that was great. So I'm used to going into something like I just did Arisen like two Sundays ago down in Philadelphia. I talked to Zay, the producer. Zay Rodriguez is his name. I talked to him on Facebook back and forth, but I never met these people. So when I went down there, I'm going down to Philadelphia for one and not knowing anybody. But it was such a great experience, because I'm me. I will joke around. I'm me. That's my way of trying to feel comfortable with myself, and it was a great experience.
I would tell you the family secret porn story.
No.
Okay, long story short, I was looking desperately to get a budget for Family Secret, so I threw it out there to anyone that had any business locally, had any money locally, and a friend of mine was in business with this computer programming company and this computer securities company or whatever, and so he said his partner wanted to meet with me. They love the script, they want to back it. And so I go to meet with them, and they said that they want to put in between $15,000 and $25,000 into the movie. And at this point, I'm like, fucking right. And then as we're sitting there, we're at the Outback restaurant, by the way. Just shout out, I like your food, Outback. And and they throw it out there, and they're like, Gino, do you know what is the biggest seller in the world, right? And I said to myself, fuck, here we go. And they go, the porn industry. And I said, okay. I'm like, but what are you saying? They're like, well, we need to add sex scenes to this. We need to bring in a co-director. In an hour and what turned out to be an hour and 40-minute film, they wanted 12 sex scenes in it.
What?
And they wanted to bring in fucking strippers basically to do the roles, not actresses. And I told them, I'm like, this is not going to fly. I'm like, porno horror does not sell. It's horror sells. and so I went to them. I said, listen, let's keep the script the way it is. I'll put one love scene in the film, and we'll go. And they wanted no part of it, to the point where we're just like, let's agree to disagree here. And they didn't even pay for my meal, bastards. But that was, it was amazing to me that it was kind of offensive too, because when you write something and you take the time to write it and you got this vision, and then their vision is, let's just fucking smut it up and sell it like that.
That wouldn't go over at all.
No. So, in the end, yeah, it was very disheartening. But thankfully now the people I'm dealing with, they have very low interest in adding porn to any of my films.
Once it becomes something like that, I think you're dealing with a whole nother demographic.
Absolutely.
So you might want to be a little careful.
And I also had an opportunity, just to show you my luck, to direct a film, and I said, fantastic. Met with the guy. It was a transgender porno film he wanted me to direct.
Oh, God.
Now, nothing against transgender porn, but I don't know how the fuck to direct it. What would I do?
I can't wait to show this interview to my grandma.
I'm sorry. I promised myself I wouldn't bring up transgender porn, and I've broken the promise again.
Oh my god!
It's just that I just didn't know what to say. The money was good, but I don't know if I need goggles or what. I don't know.
Well, Andy, I'll say this because you said it on numerous times about your grandmother, and I think that's what I admire about you is you seem very family oriented, and that's very rare in the youth today. I admire you for that.
Thanks, I really appreciate that. Yeah, what's so funny is that I don't really honestly have that many close friends, especially I think you guys will come to I think you guys know this, especially when you're in a business like this. You don't really know who to trust.
Mm-mm.
And luckily, since the very beginning, I'm very blessed to always have my mother, my father, my closest friends, that's like 3 of them, and my grandma. So it's something that...
Hi, Grandma.
You keep those people, close to you. And shout out to TGI Fridays. I like their food too. So if you're listening to this, I would like a gift card.
Olive Garden, baby, Olive Garden.
No, TGI Fridays, great boneless buffalo wings. Those are tasty bastards.
My name's Andy Salgado, and I am the actor of Mr. White. I play Tyler Rooney.
Woohoo!
Okay, my name is Gino McGehee, the co-host here. Filmmaker, Evil Awakening, Rise of the Scarecrows, Family Secret, Scary Tales, Sickle, Lone Gunman, which is free on YouTube. And I also own and operate ScaredStiffReviews.com, the home of horror, and I am gladly to be the co-host here with my friend Gruesome.
Ooh, nice. I am Gruesome Herzog, also known by my birth name, Scott Geiter. I am an actor, voice actor, producer, and I do my reviews at gruesomeherzog.com, and you can check out all our interviews on iTunes, and our talk show on iTunes at horrordeadbeats.com.
Well, thanks, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
We'll keep
You
in
guys are the
contact.
best. So very soon we'll be working together.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
Take care.